Another fight with no mechanics, another bronze carry with Astos and Rosa. Hey guys, welcome to FuSoYa's Lost Chapters, and this is the ticket mission run featuring bronze FuSoYa, and I also removed all his passives. I do have FuSoYa built until the LD, but you don't really need much for this stage because there really isn't any mechanics at all. Virtually all the mechanics is just tied to the enemy's force, and it only gets dangerous if they hit 100% force time, which actually means that if you can enter force time before they do, then the fight is a walk in the park. Since I've done this exact strategy many times before, I won't go into as much detail as I normally would. The crux of it is that I start off with Astos and I go LD and BT plus to get the BT aura going. Astos has Rain's Call, and I use both the Rain's Call to charge the summon meter as well as to arrange the turn order. You don't need anything for the character that you are carrying, in this case FuSoYa. The only function that the carry character has is to use the call ability. That's it. Rosa is the force gauge charger of choice, mainly because Rosa has an FR that is very easy to fulfill the conditionals. With Rosa, essentially I'm just going to be spamming Prey and using summon mode to win the force gauge race, after which I go into FR, BT and use the Lunafreya call, and then Astos can go into big BT mode to one-shot the bosses. With FuSoYa, the call ability is really optional. I gave him the Raijin call really only for the buff that it provides, and the fact also that the Raijin call has the 20% HP damage up, which helps a lot in Astos' BT mode. I want the buff because one of Rosa's force conditionals is that you require 10 or more buffs on the party, so the Raijin call itself already provides 3 of the 10 buffs required. That's really it for the strategy. Go into a big force time, build up the force gauge with Rosa with her echoes and her AA and the Lunafreya base call, and then go into big BT mode with Astos. I guess while Rosa is praying to the gods, a couple of things that I want to touch on. Seems that we are more or less in garbage time 2.0. If you are a fairly new player, there was a period of time in the game, sort of like the late Lunafreya era, where there weren't really a lot of mechanics as well, and the bosses really did not scale very well with the new weapons and abilities that are released on each banner, eventually leading to very easy endgame stages. I think more or less we are in that era now as well in Shinryu. We get a lot of new units, and they've also sped up the release in global in an attempt to catch up with JP, but the stages really remain static, and the difficulty in the stages are very gradual in increasing, and the boss's HP really doesn't really catch up with the level of power creep that we have, so it doesn't really take a lot to kill off the bosses at endgame. On top of this, most of the stages we get nowadays really don't have mechanics at all. In fact, the funny thing about FuSoYa's Lost Chapters, the bosses here are the same as when FuSoYa first debuted in the game, but when FuSoYa first came out in the game, the bosses actually had a lot of HP triggers during the fight, where they will actually land attacks on you when they reach a certain HP threshold. All of that have been removed, all of them. There's no HP triggers now. It does get dangerous if they enter force time, because the boss will warp its turn to the front, and inside their force time, if they get a turn and they get to act, it is game over. The whole idea is that you have to land disables on them to prevent them action when they are in force time. But why do that when you can just don't let them enter force time in the first place, right? Personally, I'm looking forward to the reintroduction of the Lunafreya orbs, which is the next era that the JP version of the game is in now. At least with the Lunafreya orbs, there would be mechanics to think about. It will be more challenging to charge the force gauge because you'll be taking down the orb. At the very least, all of this will represent an element that you need to plan for, rather than just take any party of 3 with a force gauge charger and mow down the bosses. Anyway, I'm finally to Astos' turn. Since he has one free turn from the Lunafreya call, I have him do the FR here to further build a force gauge bonus. Astos BT Mode's damage is highly dependent on the force gauge bonus percentage that you have, so the higher you are, you get really significantly much higher increases in the damage done. So just with this, he's entering BT mode at 600% force gauge, and this is way more than enough to one-shot the bosses. I guess while there's still a little bit of time here, maybe touching a bit on the fact that we did get a special Papalymo release on this event. This is the first time where they did a simultaneous GL and JP release of a character, and the version of Papalymo that we get with us is the exact same as the one that the JP version of the game gets. I will try to find time today to do a video specifically on Papalymo in more details. I did touch on him a little bit in my pool plan video, and in case you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the video description as well. But at that time, we didn't really get a lot of info on Papalymo's kit yet, so the run through was somewhat limited. Now that he's out, and no doubt it will be data mined, and we'll be getting much more detailed information, I'll be able to make a more informed decision and cover about his kit and his pros and cons and such. That being said, my plans. Likely I will actually be skipping Papalymo. Not because Papalymo is bad, I don't want to give that impression wrongly, because he is actually really good, especially if you are fairly new to the game and you don't have a lot of characters in your roster. The amount of utility Papalymo has in his kit is really good. But one thing that I need to stress is that most of his utility is tied to his BT. So if you want to chase Papalymo and use him in endgame content, you really do need to pull for his BT weapon as well and max it out. And if you don't want to or you can't, then it is actually better to just skip Papalymo. The Papalymo without BT, personally I think is really bad. It's sort of saying maybe something like Seed Reigns without a BT weapon. Or I suppose a good example is Astos without a BT weapon. It's really bad. It's really night and day in terms of how good the character is. Why am I skipping Papalymo then? Well, for one thing, I am running very low on BT ingots. I only have enough ingots to win one more BT and I want to save it. Plus, while his 6-turn stun is good, it's not something that I normally use because my usual playstyle is to just kill off the bosses before they get any turns. Anyway, that's it for this video. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll catch you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!